Hi friends, welcome to Rini'S tutorial. Hope all of you understood the last part of life processes. Let me continue the next part of life processes. In this picture, we can see the different activities we can see. For example, cycling, playing football, writing notes, listening in class, drawing pictures like that. So what we required for doing all these activities? We required energy for doing all the activities. So from where we will get the energy? We will get the energy from food. So our body is converting the food to energy. That process we call it as the nutrition. So nutrition means the process to transfer a source of energy from outside the body of the organism, which we call the food, to the inside. So food is converted to energy. That process we call it as the nutrition. How do living things get their food? The general requirement for energy and material is common in all organisms, but it is fulfilled in different ways. So all living organisms required what? Energy for their survival. And they also required what? Materials, ATP and glucose. So from ATP and glucose, the living organisms are getting the energy. Whether it is a small or a simple organism or whether it is a complex organism also, the material is common in all organisms. What are the materials? Glucose and ATP. So the energy requirement is common in all organisms. It is fulfilled in different ways. What does it mean? In 9th standard, we have studied diversity in living organisms. On that chapter, we have studied simple organisms and also complex organisms. The simple organisms and also complex organisms, they are having different body designs. So that means the conversion of food to energy in different ways in different organisms. For example, some organisms use simple substances, other organisms use complex substances. Some organisms like unicellular organism. So single cell are present, the single cell have to perform different functions. So they are taking up simple substance as their food. Other organisms, for example, multicellular organisms, they are consuming what type of food they are consuming? Complex. Why? On their body, multicellular organism, that means many cells are present on their body. So in many cells, they have the ability to convert the complex substance into simple substance. So that is why they are taking up complex substances. Next, we are moving to the type of nutrition. The first type of nutrition is autotrophic nutrition. It is the process in which the organism produces their food from the simple inorganic materials such as water, carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight. All the green plants and some bacteria have an autotrophic mode of nutrition. What does it mean? The green plants have the ability to prepare their own food with the help of water and the carbon dioxide. So the plant's roots, they will absorb water from the soil and also they will take up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In the presence of sunlight and also chlorophyll, that is a green pigment present in the green plants, it will convert the water and carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. That mode of nutrition we call it as the autotrophic nutrition. Next type of nutrition we call it as the heterotrophic nutrition. It is the mode of nutrition in which organisms depend upon other organisms for food to survive. They cannot make their food own like green plants. Heterotrophic organisms include animals and fungi. What does it mean? Some of the organisms cannot prepare their own food. So they are depending on the others for their food, for their survival. So they are taking up the organic material from others for their survival. That type of nutrition we call it as the heterotrophic nutrition. What are the examples? Animals and fungi. Next, we are going to study detailed about the autotrophic nutrition. Material is taken in the form of carbon dioxide and water, which is converted to carbohydrate in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So with the help of sunlight and also with the help of chlorophyll pigment, the water and carbon dioxide is converted to what? Carbohydrate. And what will happen to this carbohydrate? the carbohydrate which are not stored immediately, which are not used up immediately and are stored in the form of starch. So the carbohydrate, they are not using up the carbohydrate immediately. What they are doing? They are storing in the form of starch. So the starch which serves as the internal energy. So it serves to be used as and when required by the plant. Same thing happened in our body also. Human beings, the carbohydrate is converted into what? Glucose. And this glucose is stored as glycogen. In plants it is stored as starch. In animals it is stored as glycogen. This is the basic equation for photosynthesis. That is carbon dioxide. That is 6 molecule of carbon dioxide, 12 molecule of water, 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, CC, it is converted into C6H12O6. That is what? Glucose. 6O2, what is that? Oxygen. And 6H2O, that is water. So the carbon dioxide and water is converted to what? 3 products are there. What are the 3 different products? Glucose, oxygen and water. So what will happen to this glucose? Glucose, they will store it as starch. And what will happen to oxygen and water? Oxygen, they will leave out the oxygen to the atmosphere, and also they will give out the excess water to the atmosphere. So the following events occur during this process. For photosynthesis, there are 3 main processes are taking place. What are they? Absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. So we already studied what is chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green pigment present in the chloroplast. This chlorophyll absorbs the light energy from the sun. Then what will happen to this light energy? Light energy is converted to chemical energy, and water molecule is splitted to hydrogen and oxygen. What is water molecule? That is H2O. So H2O is converted to or splitted or divided into what? Hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen, it is converted to hydrogen and oxygen. Then what will happen to this carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate. So these are the 3 main events or 3 main processes in photosynthesis. This is the diagram for photosynthesis. From the sunlight, they are taking the light energy from the sunlight. The green plants are taking up the light energy, and they are taking carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and also water from the soil. And after photosynthesis, process of photosynthesis, what are the products formed here? Glucose, water and oxygen. So the glucose, they will take up the glucose as starch, and the sugar, oxygen, they will give out the oxygen to the atmosphere, and also they will give out the excess water to the atmosphere. So here we are taking the leaf and we are doing the cross section and viewed under the microscope. While viewing under the microscope, we can see the green dots are present. What are these green dots? These green dots are the cell organelle. That cell organelle, we call it as the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are green in color because of the presence of a pigment called as chlorophyll. So this is the cross section of leaf. While taking the cross section, we can see, while viewing under the microscope, we can see the green dots we can see, and the green dots we call it as the chloroplast. This chloroplast contain a green color because of the presence of chlorophyll. So the chloroplast is green in color. Next we are moving to the stomatal pore. So here we can see 2 diagrams are here. First diagram open and second one is closed. What do you mean by stomatal pore? Stomatal pore means the hole that is present in the leaves. So what is the function of this stomatal pore? Through this stomatal pore, they can do the gaseous exchange. For example, carbon dioxide. The plants have to take up the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And also plants are given out oxygen to the atmosphere. So they have to take carbon dioxide and given out oxygen. And also at the same time, through the stomatal pore, they will give out excess water to the atmosphere. So the stomatal pore means a hole to contact with the surroundings. It helps the plants to contact with the surroundings. This stomatal pore is surrounded by a 2 kidney shaped cell that we call it as the guard cell. So this guard cell will help for the stomata pore to open and closed. So first one we can see the space here, that means it is open, and the second one there is no space here. So it is, we call it as here we cannot see any space, it is closed. Sorry, here it is closed, here it is open here. So first diagram open and the second diagram is closed. So while it is closed, it cannot absorb what? Carbon dioxide. They cannot take up carbon dioxide, they cannot give out oxygen, they cannot give out the water also. Massive amount of gaseous exchange takes place in the leaves through these pores for the purpose of photosynthesis. We already discussed, for photosynthesis they required what? Carbon dioxide. So through these pores they will take up the carbon dioxide, and after photosynthesis the oxygen products are formed here. The oxygen are also given out to the atmosphere through these pores. The opening and closing of the pore is the function of guard cell. So guard cell is doing the opening and closing of the stomatal pore. So the guard cell swell when water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. So if the water enter inside the guard cell, what will happen to the guard cell? Guard cell will become swell. So if the guard cell is swelled, that means the stomatal pore is open. If the guard cell lost water, what will happen? It will become shrink. So the stomata remains closed. The guard cells swell when water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open. Similarly, the pore closes if the guard cell shrink. Then what will happen in desert plants? In desert plants, the stomata is open during night. During night, desert plants absorb carbon dioxide and form an intermediate. So what is the importance in desert plants? So in desert plants, the stomata always open during night time. Why it is open during night time? Night time they will take up the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And during daytime, so night time there is no sunlight is present. So they cannot prepare the photosynthesis. And during daytime, they will take up, they will store the carbon dioxide during the night time, and they will take up that carbon dioxide and prepare their food during daytime. Why it is not open during daytime? That is the main question. Why desert plants stomatal pore is always closed during daytime? Because why? Because during daytime there is through this stomatal pore there is tendency to loss of water from the plant. So for preventing the loss of water, during daytime the desert plants stomatal pore always closed, and during night time they will exchange the gases and they will store the carbon dioxide in their body, and during daytime with the help of sunlight they will take up the carbon dioxide. Already they are storing that carbon dioxide on their body, and they will use up the carbon dioxide for preparing their own food. So we already studied that the sunlight, water, carbon dioxide is needed for the photosynthesis. So plants also need other raw materials for building up their body. So carbon dioxide, with the help of photosynthesis, the body prepared what? Glucose, that is carbohydrate. So the plants also required what? Nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, magnesium for building up their body. So they are taking up the nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, magnesium from the soil. They are absorbing all these materials, all these raw materials they are absorbing from the soil through roots. So nitrogen, it is mainly present in our atmosphere. So atmospheric nitrogen, it is present. Nitrogen is very essential for the synthesis of protein. So atmospheric nitrogen, it is converted to inorganic nitrates or nitrites. So how it is the atmospheric nitrogen is converted to inorganic nitrate or nitrites? This we studied in our 9th standard nitrogen cycle we have studied. So atmospheric nitrogen fixing bacteria So atmospheric nitrogen is fixed in the soil as inorganic nitrate or nitrite. That rhizobium, we have studied leguminous plant and root nodules of leguminous plant contain the rhizobium bacteria. That rhizobium bacteria will fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil, and the inorganic nitrate or nitrite is absorbed by the plants from the soil. The plants are absorbing the nitrate or nitrites from the soil. This is about the nutrition, that is detailed study about the autotrophic nutrition. Thanks for watching. Please share and subscribe my channel.